We're going to bring Harold and Rachel on the phone with us. This is Captain Harold Earls IV and his wife, Rachel Earls. So good morning.
Hey. Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, great. Thank you. And Captain, let me just say thank you for your service. My father was a decorated World War II hero and a police officer afterward. You guys all have to keep protecting us all the time.
I appreciate your support, and thank you for his service as well.
Yeah, an amazing man. But you are also, a friend of mine is one of the top endurance athletes in the world. I don't know if you know of Charlie Angle, but he ran the Sahara Desert, and there's actually a DVD out on him called Running the Sahara. So you went up to Mount Everest.
I did, yeah. So I did this. So I came with the idea back when I was a senior at West Point, and then came with the idea to climb Everest, and then we put together the first Army team to actually go and do it. And we did all of this actually in my wife Rachel and I's first year of marriage.
Wow, that's pretty
wild. Talk about
wild.
testing the marriage.
So,
yes,
and by
exactly.
the way, West Point is in our backyard.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Which is really
Beautiful
cool.
country.
It's gorgeous up here.
So tell us a bit about, I'd love to know more about this mountain. First of all, when you go to climb this, Mount Everest, right, how long does it take to actually get there? I'm sure that's out in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yes, it is very much so. Good question. So it was in total a 63-day expedition. So
Holy
it takes about
smokes.
2 weeks just to get out to the mountain. And then you spend about a month on the mountain acclimatizing. So you'll climb part of the way up and then you'll climb back down, just getting used to the extreme altitudes.
Yeah, I guess because you can't just go straight up. How high is Mount Everest?
29,029 feet.
Whoa, okay. So I know in New York State here, we have, in the High Peak region, there's mountains that are in the 5,000-foot range, a little bit above the tree line out there. But, that's astounding. And, and it is not an easy climb either, right? Because a lot of people lose their lives trying to do that climb.
That's correct. Actually, the route has dead bodies all along the way. So we actually use some of those bodies as checkpoints as we make our way up the mountain. So, yeah, it was incredibly difficult.
Are the bodies there, or is just like a cross or a name or something?
No, there are definitely bodies there, because you have to think that it is very much a risk to try and get those bodies back down, because Sherpas or other climbers would be putting themselves in extreme risk just to get a dead body back down.
Wow.
And then given the frozen temperatures, they get kind of frozen in time in the place in which they fell.
Wow.
I can't imagine how their families feel either.
Well, yeah, that is God. Well, they died doing what they wanted to do. It's just a challenge.
I wonder how many people have died on Mount Everest. Any numbers that we have out there?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number. I know it's over 300 in total that have died.
Isn't that crazy? So when you go from the base to the top, you can't go straight up because of the altitude. How do you wind up doing that?
Yeah, so we would go from advanced base camp, and then we'd go to Camp 1. We'd spend the night at Camp 1, and then we'd come back down. And then we'd go back up to Camp 2, work our way up to Camp 2, and then come all the way back down. So you essentially climb the mountain multiple times before you actually make your final summit push.
Well, I'm like, yeah, all right, go ahead, Taylor, because I want, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask him why he, wants to climb Mount
Everest. Oh, you want
Everest.
the reason why.
Yeah, I want to know
I just want the tech stuff.
Yeah, I want to know what prompts you to do that.
Yeah, no, great question. Going deeper. I like it. So for me, I guess personally, it originally started out because I'm from Georgia originally, and I have never really liked the cold, and I never really liked running hills. So I wanted to put myself in that environment to see what I was made of. And then the second thing is we were climbing to raise awareness for post-traumatic stress and soldier mental health. So those were the two reasons why we did what we did.
Yeah, we work with a lot of veterans in Orange County. I don't know if you know, but we have the highest amount of veterans in the state in this county. So we work, we work with them all the time. And there was a gentleman, I don't know what year you graduated West Point, but Daryl Londo, I don't know if you knew him.
Okay.
Yeah, great guy also, a graduate. Both of the kids graduated from West Point, too. It's an incredible
It is quite amazing. So how many of your folks there went with you when you went on this climb?
Yeah, so in total, we had a female. She was a West Point graduate. We had Dr. Dave Olson, and then we had a combat wounded amputee as well.
Wow.
Join us on the climb.
And so did everybody make it up and down okay?
We did. Thank the Lord, honestly.
Yes,
we all made it to the top and made it back down.
So
safely.
How long did it take you to go up and come back down?
So our final push was about 30 to 36 hours of climbing, which I know, Rachel can speak more on it. I know it was very difficult for the families too, right back home, because Rachel was back home I think a lot of the times the focus gets on me having to do the climb, but honestly, equally as grueling, I think, as the climb is the family and Rachel, kind of the unknown, right? She knows of the deaths and the risk, but then obviously dealing with that back home as well.
Well, how was the cell service up there on the mountain? Probably not too
very good.
Nah, so
not good.
So could you communicate out of there, or how did you stay in touch with the people, down on the ground there?
Yeah, great question. So we actually got word from the Russian climbing team that we would get great cell service up high on the mountain. Was not great advice. So we actually got good cell service at base camp. So I was able to call Rachel actually using T-Mobile essentially every single day from base camp using my cell phone.
Yeah, you wonder. Incredible. Yeah, is there a town on the base of the mountain or something, or are you?
Nope.
No, really?
Nothing. You're in the middle of nowhere. Maybe the fact that you're so high, I have no idea how all that works, but I got great cell service. No, I mean, great. It was moderate. It was, granulated picture quality if I tried to FaceTime her, but still, it was pretty incredible. But then when you got higher up the mountain, none of our cell phones worked because of the extreme temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
All of our batteries were dead. It actually presented some problematic issues later on in the climb.
And what month did you do this in?
April, May.
And how cold? I guess there was snow on the top of the mountain, right?
Very much so.
Frank, are you kidding
me? So when you got to the top of the mountain,
I'm in Antarctica. Is there snow there?
Was it a clear day where you could actually see out, or what was it like when you got to the top?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Honestly, right when we got there, we were climbing all throughout the night. So we left at around 11 p.m. and then we climbed all night long. And then we literally got to the top right as the sun started to crest over the horizon. So, I mean, it was honestly one of the most beautiful sunrises you could ever have dreamed of. There was, a shadow of Everest was casted down onto the Himalayas below. So, I mean, it was incredible. I know for me, it was honestly kind of anticlimactic because I had dreamed about that moment, every single day in prep. I've been training for, a year and a half. Rachel had been by my side, working to raise funds and make this sacrifice together. And then I got there, and quite frankly, the only thing I cared about was getting back down. It was,
how long did
it was interesting.
How long did it take you to get back down?
So normally you would go back down to like Camp 2 and spend the night and then go back down to advanced camp. I actually went all the way back down to advanced camp in one day. We got hit with a really, really nasty storm on the way down that, it was pretty crushing.
So what year,
amazing.
when did you do this? What year did you do this in?
In 2016.
2016. So what have you done since then? Have you been climbing anywhere or doing anything extreme?
Change the shingles on your roof or something? Or
Well, I've actually been, we got two little ones at home. And then Rachel and I, we actually wrote a book about it. And so really the book is more so about, doing this through the backdrop of our first year of marriage, right? So it talks more about the relationship piece that, honestly, it was pretty difficult to do in our first year of marriage, and our faith behind that, and that's what we've really been working on.
And what's the name of the book?
So the name of the book is called A Higher Calling.
And how long were you together before you got married?
Yeah, so we were engaged for a little over a year and a half. So we met while, I guess, going into my sophomore year at West Point.
Oh, okay. And
so is she from the Hudson Valley?
Yeah, are you from the Hudson Valley, Rachel?
I am not. I'm originally from Florida. So I was at Florida State University while Harold was at West Point, and we didn't know each other at all. And it was actually my cousin that sort of introduced us, but really that started by him telling Harold about me, some redheaded cousin of his, of Tommy's, not Harold's, but Harold and I are not related.
Glad to hear that.
You are now.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
A little misconstrued.
Yep.
Yeah, and so then Harold kind of took it upon himself to add me on Facebook and send me a message. And it wasn't the most clever message ever, but I was interested. And so we just hit it off immediately. We kind of had like a crazy whirlwind love story. And we really loved sharing that throughout our book.
So, Rachel, are you doing anything extreme, or are you just watching from the sidelines here and being his cheerleader?
During Everest?
Yes.
So we actually discussed if I were going to go to base camp because they needed a base camp manager. But also at the time we were dealing with if we wanted to start our family. And so I really wanted to be as close to Harold as I possibly could, but he also didn't want to be distracted, caring and worrying about me, because obviously the altitude, even at base camp, can make you sick. And then he'd be climbing up the mountain and leaving me behind. And so he just wanted me to be protected. So instead, I went traveling on my own. So I went to Ireland, Scotland, Guatemala, Nashville.
I'm sorry I wasn't with you. I would have liked that trip.
Yeah, so I didn't want to be stuck in just a period of waiting and not really living a full life. I feel like a lot of people can just feel stuck in those waiting periods. We all have them. And so I just wanted to really live life at the fullest that I could. And so that was filling up my days with life-enriching things. And for me, at the time, that was traveling.
That's wonderful.
Well, I'll tell you what, with everybody being quarantined at home, this must be driving you guys nuts.
Yes. We were hoping to do some traveling beforehand, but that's all right. We've been appreciating our time together, learning these things about each other. I actually learned that Harold didn't know how to do the Macarena. Yeah, which is mind-blowing to me. In fact, he called it the Macarena. I'm like, Harold, what on earth?
So we spent an entire night then playing the Macarena song so I could learn the proper
I love it.
That is great.
That is fantastic.
Great.
So how old are your children now?
We have a 2.5-year-old and a 10-month-old.
Oh, you're brave. That's braver than going to Mount Everest. I don't care what you say.
And we're talking about having a third, which is maybe even braver thing of all. So.
That'd be
For
kind of
Rachel, it is.
That would be good. Well, this sounds like an interesting book because what you did is quite an achievement that a lot of people try to do. Everest is not the highest mountain, is it? Isn't Kilimanjaro or one of them? Or
no, it is the highest.
It is the highest. All right. Wow.
I don't know what school you went to, Frank.
Not a good one, obviously.
But and there is snow on the mountain too, believe it or not. Yeah.
I guess that. But so why April and this time of year? Is this the calmest weather on the mountain?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So I mean, in the winter, obviously the temperatures and weather is very, very extreme and unpredictable. And then in the summertime, you have the monsoon season, so a lot of rain, a lot of storms. So this is the prime time to climb is actually in April, May.
And when you get to the top, what is at the top of the mountain? A sign that says
the top
closed?
of the mountain.
Not a whole lot. There's prayer flags. So there's Nepalese prayer flags all around.
Sure.
And then
the people who went up there, right?
I left a pair of dog tags of a soldier at the top.
Oh, wonderful.
I brought him on behalf of his spouse, so we left those at the top.
That is wonderful.
I'm really glad to hear that.
That is great. So
I think a lot of most people that go up there do leave something. A lot of flags should be up there.
Yeah, there are.
So you're still in the service, correct?
I am. So we're active duty. We're currently stationed here in Washington D.C.
Okay. Well, that's not a fun place.
So, nice this time of year with the blossoms and everything out there. That's pretty much over already.
Yeah,
but
what do you physically, you're out, you're walking every day. I mean, I'm sure you have to be doing something.
Yeah, as far as, so we still work, obviously, or I still work. But honestly, for us, we've just really been enjoying, actually spending quality time together as a family has been honestly really, really great. I have enjoyed really getting to know my 2-year-old and 10-month-old. My 2-year-old, he has developed so much personality. He's a headache at times, but it has been so fun just watching him grow up.
Yeah, welcome to the world.
Well, one thing you do have to be, I know you did, the highest mountain and all that stuff, but one thing you got to be careful of, we might be sending a guy named Cuomo down your way, okay? He may be running for president. We just want you to beware.
Do not say that.
I'm just, thinking.
Oh my God.
I think he's going to make a run. I think he's going to make a run.
People out there who are listening around the country, don't do it.
All right,
Step away from the Cuomo.
But then it'd be out of New York.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But he'd be running the country. That's even worse.
All right. So we'll see what happens from there.
Let's not get political.
Let's not get too. Well, he's in Washington. You'd have to get political.
That's true.
But there you go. So pretty cool stuff. So how long have you been in Washington now?
So we've been in Washington for a little over a year and a half now.
And when you think of all the memorials and all the things that are in Washington, it's probably, those are pretty humbling things to go to see. Have you seen all the attractions? Have you seen the monuments and all the things in Washington? Yeah,
we have. I mean, for me, this has been a time for me that I honestly have been the most grateful I've ever been as far as being an American. And honestly, just having the ability to serve and see the different things in D.C. really makes me really, really proud. I think, honestly, this place and I work in Arlington Cemetery, I think really represents the very best of this country.
Yeah, and you're the
quite frankly, at a time when we need reminding of what our very best looks like. So I feel very honored.
I agree with that.
Just to play a small role in that.
Now, you're the commander of the guard of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, correct?
Really?
I am. That is correct.
That's
that
is pretty overwhelming.
That sort of got a lot of play back in the days when Kennedy was buried, right? I mean, I was a very young kid back then, and I remember, learning about that and and everything that goes on at that cemetery. But it is quite an amazing place. That's a place I had never been to. I've been to a lot of the other monuments down in Washington, but I think that's something we'll have to make a trip one of these days down and definitely see that from there. How what do you do down there with the cemetery?
Yeah, so I'm the commander of the guard of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So our tomb guards are the ones who keep guard and watch over the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And
how long does a typical guard shift go for?
Yeah, so it's for 26 hours on. We've been guarding it for 24 hours. So I want to be careful too. As far as talking about the book and then talking about my professional work.
Okay. I
just want to make sure that I don't misconstrue the two.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we have been guarding it for 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and you have people that do that. So it's an interesting thing and something everybody
it's a little bit different.
should see as they go on there.
I agree. Tell everybody the name of the book and where they can buy it.
Yeah, thanks so much. So it's called A Higher Calling, Pursuing Love, Faith, and Mount Everest for a Greater Purpose. And so you can buy that essentially anywhere books are sold. And then also at earls.org, EARLS.org.
And what is that?
Well, it's obviously
that's our
his
last name.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's right. I just wanted to know if it was
He's not up. You'll have to excuse him. He's not up yet.
I didn't know if that was a bookstore. They opened
it's
a bookstore.
His last name.
Well, I know that, but
well, now you do.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, Christian Book, Books A Million, Mardell, IndieBound, all those places as well if you just directly type in our title, A Higher Calling.
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier just for people to type in earls.org. I think that's the easiest thing to remember. Well, listen, this is so fascinating. And since everybody doesn't have much to do now but be home, go get the book. It would be a great read for the whole family, actually. I think it's really important that that information is shared, and it's a time to bring people together. So, listen, thank you, Harold. Thank you so much for everything you've done, for your service, and thank you, Rachel, as well, and continued great success.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate y'all.
Oh, sure. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care now.